Aaron, thank you. Within the last few hours, a federal judge has dismissed Disney's lawsuit against Governor Ron DeSantis. The judge says Disney lacked standing in its First Amendment lawsuit. Disney argued transferring control of the governing district was retaliation. The company publicly opposed the state's so-called Don't Say Gay law. However, the judge believed Disney could not argue the intent behind a constitutional law. Disney, in a statement, says this sets a dangerous precedent. Governor DeSantis' office says the decision makes it clear he was correct.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
What makes you think that I'm an answer if you ain't mine? Even if you call me.
Disney takes another massive L, and this is a dead horse that won't stay dead. I mean, golly, I've never seen a punching bag take more punches than this. This is like watching them 8 black dudes run a train on that one white girl. I mean, it just won't stop. Now you should already know. By now, the war that Disney was fighting in Florida. Okay, so if you don't know, I'm gonna go ahead and refresh your memory really quick. Hold on.
This morning, the so-called happiest place on earth plunging into the middle of a culture war. Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis targeting Disney, the state's largest single-site employer.
And they are treated on a pedestal. This one corporation is treated differently than everybody else. Now in the legislature, you see a movement to reevaluate those special privileges.
The governor angry at Disney's opposition to the state's controversial new parental rights and education legislation, also known as the Don't Say Gay law. It bans classroom.
Now, before we continue, I just want to let it be known that this law was basically giving parents the power to raise their children the way that they wanted to be raised, okay? If parents say that I don't want this taught in my schools, it doesn't matter what the topic is. It doesn't matter what the subject is. If parents say collectively, we don't want this taught to our children, no one should be able to come and tell them otherwise. If parents come together and say, listen, the color red is evil, we no longer want it used in our public schools. As tax-paying, citizens, that is their right to do so, and they should have their right to control that. All right. Remember, the government works for the people. So for the audacity of a billion-dollar company like Disney to come in and say, we're working to reverse this law that the people voted on? Are you out of your rabbit ass mind?
It bans classroom discussion on sexual orientation and gender identity from kindergarten through 3rd grade. In a statement, Disney says, our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed in the legislature or struck down in the courts. It's all amid the backdrop of cultural and political battles over the law and issues of representation, which conservatives hope to make a central issue of the coming midterm election. DeSantis fundraising off the fight. Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz tweeting, I'll tell you how to trap this rodent, and commentators taking aim.
Why not just rename the roller coaster, Sex Mountain?
Hey, Sex Mountain is crazy. But Disney can't afford this. I mean, at what point does Disney just cut ties and say, listen, we've taken enough L's. It's time to just move forward with the company, focus on making profits because this ain't working. All right, now remember our man Bob Chapek did not want to dive into this, but he was pressured by the wokesters inside his own company when he was the CEO of Disney to dive headfirst into this culture war that is gender politics in Florida. Governor DeSantis wasn't going for none of that shit. So what happened was when Disney released their statement regarding the Don't Say Gay bill, otherwise known as the parental rights law, DeSantis said, oh, really? How about this? Now, a lot of people have said that DeSantis wouldn't win, that Disney would prevail, and they had no leg to stand on. Well, apparently Disney had no leg to stand on. Their whole entire argument was that Governor DeSantis was impeding on their freedom of speech rights because they was doing this in retaliation to them speaking about the Don't Say Gay bill. Well, I do believe that Disney has a point. It is a little bit concerning that a government official can get mad at something that you stand for and then decide to retaliate against you for that. But I got to be honest, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares until it happens to us, but nobody cares. Okay? Disney has been, this is the same company that had an executive in their Zoom meetings saying stuff like this.
It's like, I love Disney's content. I grew up watching, all of the classics. They have been a huge, informative part of my life. But at the same time, I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you hear whispers. Like I'd heard things like, oh, they won't let you show this at a Disney show, and I'm like, okay. So I was a little like sus when I started, but then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard on my little pocket of proud family Disney TVA. The showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. And so I feel like
not at all so secret gay agenda. You can't make this shit up. you can't make it up. So as Disney, and see, here's the ultimate problem with Disney. There's people out here that think there's just like these evil corporations at the top, and everybody has the same agenda, and they want to do no. It's more nuanced than that. This comes from a company that thought that they was being progressive and thought that they were thinking forward when they started hiring a lot of these activists into their company. They had no idea. They had no idea this was going to be the result. Okay. They thought that they was just churning the machine as usual. Every generation has new people, new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of thinking. That's not surprising. But when you start forcing your lifestyle onto other people, I think, because even back in the 70s when people were starting to have, the 60s and the 70s, when people were starting to have sex a lot and getting abortions and stuff nobody was outright saying, hey, listen, do what I like to do, or accept what I like, or disappear. Nobody was doing that. It was kind of like, we're going to do our thing, and you old people who think we're nasty and disgusting for it, you think what you think. But in this generation, it's more like, listen, this is what we think. You either agree or you get stepped on. And nobody likes that shit. All right. Nobody I shouldn't get stepped on just for not agreeing with your lifestyle, just for having a differing opinion than you, and just for voting in a different direction that you vote. You know what I'm saying? But these people don't think like that. If you don't think like they think, they want you buried in the ground. And unfortunately, the executives at Disney made the mistake of falling for Black Lives Matter, of falling for defund the police, of falling for the whole, quite frankly, the Title IX situation, where you just started hiring and promoting people based on the color of their skin, the people they have sex with, and the color of their hair, as opposed to hiring people based on merit. And now you have a myriad of companies who's infested with these woke ideologies, and ultimately what you get is things like Disney. Now, remember, there is a proxy war going on at Disney right now. You got Ike Perlmutter and other people trying to fight for board seats to get Disney going in the right direction. I'm hoping, something good comes of that. I don't know if what we want will come to it, but I think this is a really big W in the war of woke. It's just the facts. I mean, that's what I believe. I don't know what you guys think, but you can let me know down in the comments. I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Let's go. Hey. Beat that thing down like you started attention, my baby. You had some plans with your man, just tell him to cancel, my baby. Yeah. Slide to the crib, look like Dracula's mansion, my baby. When you pull up, it's on action, my baby.